Today, I'm going to be talking about the Italian opening, which is an opening that a lot of people think of as slow and passive and a very safe opening. But I'm going to show you all that there's a lot of tricks and traps within this opening that not many people know about. So, the first one that I'm going to go through, which first of all, the Italian opening starts like this. This is the position that you get into. People generally play this again because it's very passive, very slow. You get a very safe position. And you have a lot of opportunities to attack. But there are many traps in this opening. So, for example, one of the first ones I want to get into is pretty common. It's called the fried liver attack. So after black goes here to attack this pawn, what you're going to do is you're going to set a trap. So you're going to go here. The whole point of the Italian opening is pretty much to attack this pawn. So this move is pretty obvious. You're attacking this pawn, adding pressure. On the very next move, if black were to do nothing, we're threatening to take this pawn and attack the queen and attack the rook. So after the queen moves, we win the rook. So of course, black has to respond to this threat. The move that's pretty obvious, because if you were to try something like this, obviously that fails very quickly. It does nothing because this is about danger levels. And obviously the queen is worth so much more than the knight and the bishop. Even if you were to exchange down this, obviously white is clearly winning. And here it wants to take this way. But regardless, with a check, black can't castle. Anyways, the most obvious move would be to play the move d5, because d5 is going to block this attack. So it looks like our attack's over. It looks like white's attack is finished. But what you do is you take this pawn, and if black recaptures, thinking, okay, well now I've covered, they no longer have this attack, this knight's defended by the queen, it looks like everything's done. It even looks like I'm attacking this knight, so it looks like black is winning. But white has a tricky move where they take here, they take on f7, and they sacrifice the knight. After black recaptures this knight, it looks like black's up a piece, but white throws in this check, queen f3. Queen f3 is a very dangerous move. If black tries to go back, you simply take here, and believe it or not, it's checkmate. Black has to defend this move, defend this attack, and even if they try to give up the queen, it's still checkmate, because after the bishop comes out, it's still checkmate. They have no way to block this. If they go back, it's mate. And if black instead tries, there's a few other moves they may try that are all losing. They only have one correct move in this position. So if they try, something like here, which is king e7, as you can tell, it's a mistake. And you can simply, if you want, just capture this this piece. And now you're up a pawn, and you're threatening the attack to continue, such as, for example, here. So as you can tell, you just win a piece, and there's a lot more of attacking you can do. I mean, if we just go down this line, so let's say I'm trying to find something reasonable for black to do here. Let's see. I mean, if you look at a move like this, it seems reasonable, and of course, yeah, it's an excellent move. But the point that I'm trying to make in this position is it's really not so clear. So, like, let's say you just drop it back here. I don't know. You could take, even you're up the pawn, but you could also jump it back. After some more like continuing moves, like let's say they try something like this, I don't know, it's not a great move. You can probably strike back at some point in the center, and you'll have this pin or this skewer, the king and the queen. So obviously, if you go down this line where they go here, you can simply take here and just be up a pawn. The computer says you're up 2.12, so white's clearly winning here. If instead they try to go back here, I believe that's even worse, because you do the same attack, and now you're actually still threatening this mate in one threat. And if they go here, thinking that they're going to cut off this mate in one threat with the queen, you can simply take the knight. After it takes back, you'll pick up a piece. You'll pick up a rook. So, as you can tell, the only move that really works in this position is actually to go forward. Believe it or not, even though black again is up a whole piece still, they're still losing. You go knight c3 and you add more pressure. This knight cannot take because it's pinned to the king. So they need to find a way to defend this piece, because if they do nothing, you're simply going to win this piece. So if they go back, which to me looks pretty logical, you immediately strike with d4 in the center. And this looks confusing. It looks like, why are we attacking this pawn on e5? But after they take, it gets even more confusing because you completely sacrifice this knight by going bishop f4. After they take, you completely ignore this pawn again and you castle long. After they take again, you still ignore it and you go king b1. This is a crazy line. I don't think you'll find anywhere that discovers it, that talks about this line, because it's very deep into the analysis, but it's a pretty common thing you might see after this. So in this position, of course, now the whole reason we did all those sacrifices, again, what black is up 7 points of material, completely crushing. But the reason we did that, all those sacrifices, is simply to open up this e file. Now that this e file is open, so let's say computer wants pawn c6, and that's simply to add protection to this knight, because obviously we have a lot of attackers on this knight, and we're simply, in the next few moves, going to be threatening it. So they add this preemptive move of protection. Rook e1, and it's over. It doesn't matter really what they play. Obviously this bishop is cutting down this diagonal. So if they go here, right, you have this threat where you can simply win the queen. It's a discovered check on the king, and the queen cannot block it. So after the next move, the queen's gone. So you'll simply pick up black's queen. But if they go here instead, what you can do is take this knight here on d5, and after they take back, you can actually sacrifice the rook here, and after they take, it's going to be simply mate. So the bishop cuts off this file, queen cuts off here, and the rook cuts off this file. So after this, it's checkmate. Another line, though, that's you're very likely to see after this move to attack the knight and adding more pressure is this way, going to attack and threaten this check. So black thinks they're going to protect their piece and they're going to threaten a nasty check so that we can't castle. So we just ignore it, we castle as if nothing's happening. And then after they go c6, which again is a top computer move to defend this knight, now you play d4. And after d4 here, and they, after you play d4 here, when they take, now rook e1, you control the file, and after, let's say, king d6. So let's see what we got here. Bishop f4. Okay. Yeah, bishop f4. I haven't actually looked what happens if here king takes f4. Oh, and it's just checkmate. e6. And their only move is here, and queen f7. Yeah, it's just checkmate. So they can't take that, clearly. But if they try, let's say, to go back, it's still mate. In fact, this one is checkmate with queen g4. These diagonals are controlled by the bishop and the queen, and the rook controls this file. So as you can tell, there's just a ton of different checkmates here. You can look deeper into these with analysis. You can debate, maybe black shouldn't take this pawn, but if you just go down the line, I mean, if black tries to play comfortable moves, try to create space, I mean, you always have rook e1 and these ideas to just attack the king. So that's the fried liver attack, which is very, very dangerous, and the legal trap, which I'll quickly show you, but I'll make another video on in a little bit. So the legal trap, just to show you all briefly. So in this Italian game, same exact opening, sometimes people think, well, this pawn is a weakness, and rather than going down some of these lines, we're just going to simply play here. We're going to try and protect our center, play d6, and maybe bring our bishop out. And the idea behind the bishop coming out is, hypothetically, if they could, like let's say we castle, some players may want to just avoid all the theory around f7 because this bishop is so strong. So some people will play d6. After d6, though, there's a few things we can play here. The one that I'm trying to get you all to play, or teach you all about the legal trap, is knight c3. And then after this move, which looks strong, it looks like, from black's perspective, we pin the knight, and we're threatening to bring this knight in here, and it's just a ton of pressure on this knight. It's actually losing. So we go h3, and they want to keep this pin. because again, they want to bring this knight in here. Ideally, if they could have both, they'd win a piece, or have to make me retreat my bishop. So they go back to keep the pin. And believe it or not, you have a move here where you can sacrifice the queen. Knight takes e5. After knight takes e5, it's a brilliant move. If they take, well, first I'll go down the line that may be more tricky. So if they take your queen, it's actually checkmate. Knight or bishop takes f7, and after king e7, knight d5 is checkmate. The knights cover the very important escape squares, and the bishop covers the other escape squares, and it's covered by the knight. So that's clearly a very tricky line. But if they think, okay, well, I've seen this legal trap before, and I'm gonna avoid losing the game this way, and they think I'll just take the knight. Well, you take the free bishop, and after they take your bishop, you throw in this check, and after they block, you win a knight. And as you can tell, white is up so much in development, and they're up a pawn. This is clearly a winning opening for white. The last one of the last traps that I want to show you all that I've played quite a bit with good success, probably most successful around 12 to 1400 is what I found, is this move where now they think, okay, I can't play d6, and I don't want to play here because I don't want to go to the fried liver. So I think, well, maybe I'll bring my bishop out. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll bring my bishop out to c5, which the engine loves, and it's a great line. It's one of the ones I played for the longest time playing as black, which now I have a secret opening that I like to play against the Italian that I think crushes it in most lines. But anyways, there's this move, it's called the Greco Attack is what we're trying to play. So what you can play here is actually this tricky move, c3. And it now obviously black's going to play knight f6 because they see this pawn is undefended. And there's really no good way for us to defend it. So we simply don't. That's the part of the attack. So we go d4, attacking the bishop, and after they take and take back, well, now they think I need to get this bishop out of the way. So they throw in this check. After this check, we're going to actually bait them into the Greco attack. So we play knight c3, and now this pawn is undefended from black's perspective. It's undefended, and they're going to double attack this knight. So they take it, and we just completely ignore it. We completely ignore it, and we simply castle. After we castle, they think, okay, well, I'm gonna take this knight, and I'm also gonna take this pawn, and it looks pretty strong. It looks like I'm gonna win white's rook, or at least make white move their rook, and we completely ignore it again. And you have two options here, two that you can play. The move that I always used to play was simply just queen b3 immediately, just to bait them into taking that rook, and I can go down that line in a second. There's some stronger moves too. Actually, let's see, the engine wants, the engine wants queen a3, or I mean bishop a3, and the idea behind bishop a3, of course, again, it's a brilliant move. So these traps are not necessarily common things you'll find, and you really need to know these lines, or you won't be able to, find them or know how to play them. But after they take your rook, as you can tell, it's a blunder. Rook e1, it just ends the game on the spot. This diagonal is completely covered. Obviously, the queen, if it comes out, it's just we're going to take the queen, and you can take it really however you want. There's probably even better lines than to take the queen. And if they go here, I haven't really spent a ton of time looking at this. I'll try to let's see, what does it want? Oh, you just give up the queen, give up the rook to win the queen. So I guess it wants a very simple line. But the line I always used to play, I don't know much about bishop a3, is I used to play queen b3. Of course, doesn't like it, wants bishop a3. The idea is the same. After they take this rook in the center, or I mean in the corner of the board, we actually have this check now. And after the king goes to f8, let's see, I think we have bishop g5, and the queen is completely lost. If they try to keep the queen, there's this really complicated line you can look at. Rook e1 is a great move. Obviously, you're adding more pressure. You're going to win the queen, or you're going to win the game. We're completely ignoring this bishop. I mean, if they try, well, they can't do that even with the knight there. But clearly, as you can tell, it's a lost position. I mean, black. What's funny is black's up 6 points of material, but it's completely lost. I mean, the moves it wants, like c6. Yeah, it's to cut off this diagonal. Yeah, and then you can go here, threatening checkmate. That's kind of a tricky move. I'm guessing they have this move, but I'm not sure what our response exactly is. Oh, we just add more pressure, and then the knight's completely gone, the queen's gone. If they try to save the queen, you can even just go here. And the idea being is that if they take, of course, they lose their queen. I mean, here would be more accurate. But if they don't take and they try to save their queen, like anywhere they go, let's see, it's trying to find a safe square. You always have discovered mates and discovered attacks on the queen. So once rook e8, which is just simply a checkmate. So as you can tell, there's a lot of traps there. Sorry if everything seems a little choppy. I had to edit something out. But thank you all for watching the video. If you all have any suggestions, things you want to see, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm going to try and post some videos actually playing the Italian opening and featuring some of these traps so you all can see how I would play them and how to adapt when your opponent plays something, of course, it doesn't go into your line. But of course, these videos will help you to stay prepared and learn the Italian is more than just a positional opening, but it does have a lot of traps and tricks that you can learn and beat your opponents with. Thank you for watching.